What is your full name?
Miriam Munoz.
What medical condition do you have?
I have epilepsy.
Can you explain what epilepsy is?
Epilepsy is a neurological disorder in which abnormal activity of the brain causes you to have seizures.
When did you find out when you got this disease?
Like 4 years ago.
What did the doctors tell you when you found out?
Well, they just told me about the disease, and they also, because back then it was just very mild. So they just, they were just trying to keep me from not having it to progress. So they were very optimistic.
What went through your mind when you found out?
Well, at first, I didn't think I had it. At first, I thought, oh, maybe they're just exaggerating, or they're wrong. So, I just felt like, I guess I was in denial.
Does it affect your life by family, job, and etc.?
Well, the only way it affects my life is by working, because sometimes I have to cut my hours at work, and then and I can't drive, my license gets suspended, so I have to rely on a lot of people to get rides. My family is very supportive. It's just sometimes that when I feel sick, I just I avoid going out, like socially, and it's just something that you have to live.
What's the hardest moment you went through that's related to this?
When I had a episode where it wouldn't stop, it was just non-stop, and my husband had to take me to the emergency room, and it still wouldn't stop. So that was pretty scary, not just to me but to other people too, like especially in the emergency room. So that was the toughest part, when they won't stop.
Do you have any family record of this?
Any family history?
Yeah.
No, actually, which is odd, because usually, you either, because at my age, it's not usual to get a diagnosis of epilepsy, and I don't have family history. And they did a whole bunch of testing to make sure I don't have any tumor, or I don't have any other dysfunction, and everything else was fine. The only thing that came back irregular was in the EEG, which is an electrogram. That's the one they do to test you to see if you have seizures. But everything else was fine.
What type of medication do you use?
I take Lamictal, which I take once in the morning and one at night, and that just helps my electricity in my brain to kind of get stable. And then I also take Clonopin, which it's kind of like a downer, so it helps to prevent seizures also. And I take sleeping pills at night, because due to the epilepsy, it's really hard for me to sleep.
What triggers your seizures?
Well, stress, not sleeping well, which is kind of like a weird thing, because if I don't sleep well, I can have seizures, but because I get seizures, I can't sleep. And then that's pretty much what triggers them. I think also, like, if you don't have like good nutrition, can also contribute to that. Alcohol can actually decrease the what do you say, the medication to be effective.
What do you feel before and after the seizures?
Well, it's called an aura, and it's a very weird description. It's just this weird feeling. It's hard to describe, but it's almost like my head is too heavy for the rest of my body, and that my body is heavy too, and like I won't be able to take another step. I start, my speech starts going away. My whole, there's a point when if I don't go sit, I'm gonna fall because I become like paralyzed. Even my mouth, I have no control of my mouth, and that's when I know I'm gonna have a seizure.
What recently has happened with your epilepsy? Has it gotten worse or easier on you?
It's actually getting a lot worse, I would say in the past year. Because at first it was just like involuntary movements, a little space in here, a little space in there. But I was able to do everything. Drive, just go to work, do everything at home. And just recently I started having seizures. At first I was having seizures. I was conscious. I was even able to move. My speech was a little bit slower, but I would my legs would, freeze a little, but my hands, they wouldn't. I could have control of my hands. And then eventually, I don't lose consciousness at all. I'm always conscious of what's going on. And then it started just, to the point that I just couldn't move nothing, and I wasn't able to speak. And I just had no control of my body at all. And it just, it's a sensation in which you get very, very anxious. And, that's what it is right now.
Do you have any advice on how to cope with this?
Well, actually I'm still coping with it because it's advancing very quickly. But I guess when I go out and to the park, or when I go out for a walk, that's very helpful. Also sleeping at night is very helpful. But just knowing that there's a lot of people that have epilepsy out there, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's just a disorder. Actually, I don't even see it like a disease. I see it more like a disorder. You're not alone. There's, like I said, there's nothing wrong with you. It's not your fault. And you need to have your family support, and you need to let everybody know what to do. Even at work, I never had it at work, but I'm telling my coworkers now what to do if I do have